Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to be presenting about global migration. So the learning objectives of this lesson is to analyze the political, economic, cultural, and social factors underlying the global movements of people. And next is to display first-hand knowledge on the experience of overseas Filipino workers. So what is global migration? Global migration is a circumstance in which people move to another country to live, usually in order to find jobs. So, the concept of migration is a change of residence that involves a complete change and readjustment of community affiliation, and movement, a change of residence while retaining the same jobs, social relationships, and community ties. So, what are the types of migration? So, we have international and internal migration. For international migration, we have leaving one's country with the intent to settle permanently abroad, and immigration is the act of coming to live permanently in a foreign country. And we also have internal migration. So for internal migration, we have residential mobility, migration streams, migration by stage, migration interval, gross migration, and forced migration. So residential mobility is the change of residence within the same national boundaries. And next we have migration streams. It consists of migrants who from a common area of origin and arrive at a common area of destination. Next is migration by stage. It is a series of less drastic movement from village to city. Next is migration interval. It is the time reference of a migration process. And next is gross migration. It is the sum of arrivals and departures in a given area. Next is stream movement. It refers to a group of migrants who come from a common area of origin and go to a common area of destination at a certain period of time. And lastly, we have forced migration. It is brought by a complex humanitarian emergencies like war, ethnic cleansing, pandemic, etc.
Okay, so factors of there's are the factors of migration. So why do people migrate? The first, economic migration, moving to find employment of people follow a particular career path. So one of the example of this is just like our Filipinos that they are going to like abroad for FWs to find what are good for them that they think that the benefits of they by going there or by what we call that they are looking for a job there. And next is social migration, so moving somewhere for a better quality of life or to be closer to a family friends. So one of the example of this is just like uh, if uh, if you don't like your place now that like uh, you find place you go to another place to meet new friends or facing new environment, just like that. And political migration, moving to escape political persecution of war. And environmental causes of migration includes natural disasters such as flood, earthquake, and etc.
So, migration has advantages and disadvantages. Some of the advantages include improvement of the quality of life, new personal and professional experiences, contact with new culture, and expansion of knowledge. And we have disadvantages include xenophobia and cultural barriers, language barriers, and discriminated. So we have here the advantages of migration. First bullet is improvement of the quality of life. Most immigrants are looking for an increase in standard living condition like getting to better places, living in a crime-free environment with citizen benefits and social security, as often a common engine for urging people to move from one country to another. The second bullet is New personal and professional experiences. The new stage of life encourages immigrants to get the best of themselves in the personal and work environment, like interacting with people. When they leave their comfort zone, immigrants are faced with the need to take on new challenges, being more independent, living alone, saving, taking on new personal and professional commitments, all within the framework of growth and accumulation of new experiences. And lastly, the third bullet is contact with new cultures and expansion of knowledge. Traveling gives you the opportunity to learn about new cultures, learning their way of life, gastronomy, means of transport, idioms, tradition, and even overcome language barriers. If this is the case, making life in another country opens the door of knowledge through the autochthonous history of each nation and even through tours of most representative site of historical sites of the place. Now we have disadvantages of migration. First bullet is xenophobia and cultural barriers. Not all countries are hospitable to immigrants. In many cases, cultures of resistance to change prevail, in which immigrants may be victims of racial discrimination or xenophobic comments by their country or region of origin. Second bullet is language barriers. If you choose to migrate to a country with a language other than the mother tongue, it is essential to know at least the basic notion of language. For this, it is most advisable to know the basic terms to develop in society, basic phrases to make purchases, be familiar with traffic sign, and of course, handle the greetings and expression of courtesy. And lastly, we have discriminated. When you migrate to another country, you might be discriminated, hated, or oppressed, or even killed. When you migrate with your livestock to search for food and pasture, you might be killed and the livestock might be stolen. But in some countries, some people might be merciful and they will help each other, while others will discriminate against the migrants and oppress them by giving them a lot of work to do without giving them enough food. Later, the immigrants will become sick and might pass away.
So, global migration in the Philippines. Bagong Bayani, this is how people call overseas Filipinos workers or OFWs these days, and they deserve it because these people decided to leave the comfort of their homes and sought greener pastures to provide a better life and future for their family. The remittances they sent to their families back home help improve the Philippines economy, hence the title. Aside from this, how much do we know about our OFWs? So, number one is this is an increasing number of OFWs deployed every year, meaning, according to the Philippines Overseas Employment Administration or POEA, there were more than 1.8 million Filipinos, both new hires and rehires, who left the country to work in 2015. Land-based workers still got the big chunk at more than 1.4 million, while there were more than 406,000 seafarers deployed. What's more alarming is that these numbers increases every year, which could indicate that income opportunity in the Philippines is not a par with other countries overseas. There are also more rehires than new hires, especially for the land-based workers. So number two is Middle East countries are still top destination among OFWs. In particular, Saudi Arabia with more than 406,000 workers deployed and United Arab Emirates with a little over 227,000 documented workers. What's the reason behind this? Migration to Middle East dates back to 1970s when the countries in this region started recruiting guess what's workers to work on various projects, including infrastructures. In 19, in 1975, then President Marcos implemented development diplomacy, which paved way to the rise of Filipinos deployed overseas. Aside from this, Middle East countries like Kuwait, Qatar, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong are among the top destinations for OFWs. Europe, America, Oceania, and Africa are also considered by Filipinos seeking to work abroad. So number two, next slide please. Household service workers occupy the top occupational category. There are several occupational groups deployed overseas. This includes household service workers, nursing professionals, laborers, cleaners and helpers, waiters, construction workers, welders, engineers, plumbers, and pipe fitters. Among these groups, household service workers remain to be the top job applied to by the Filipinos with more than 194,000 and at least 183,000 new hires in 2014 and 2015 respectively. So number four, next slide please. OFWs help boost the Philippines economy by sending remittances. So do you know why the Philippines was able to withstand recession despite the severe economic crisis around the world? It's all because of our OFWs remittances. In 2014, remittances were almost $24 billion in 2015. OFW's cash remittances is at least $16.21 billion from January to August alone. This increases the country's reserves, thereby making the Philippines more resilient despite the economic crisis rocking the world. And lastly is number five. The life of OFWs abroad is not as easy as it seems. It's true that OFWs can earn bigger in dollars. The fact that they can the fact that they are abroad make it easier for them to visit other places and experience a different culture. Unfortunately, OFW's life is not as easy as it seems. Apart from dealing with homesickness and unexplainable lack of funds, even while working abroad, OFWs are exposed to violence, abuses from employers, exploitation, and incarceration. If an OFWs fight back and unfortunately kill the employer, the OFW is subjected to death sentences and could even lead to death itself. If you want to give this a try, then you need to prepare physically and emotionally to help get through this life. It is rewarding, but sacrifices have to be made to provide a better life for your family.
So next, we are going to be presenting Block 9's Walang Natira, and we are going to tell you what this song means to the OFW people. So that's Glock 9's Walang Natira. So what is brain drain phenomenon? So the term brain drain refers to a large-scale emigration or migration of people. A brain drain can be caused by internal strife, the availability of better job possibilities in other nations, or a desire to improve one's standard of living. So how is Glock 9 song Walang Natira related to why Filipinos prefer going overseas to work? So the Philippines is like a tree whose fruits have been picked out. According to Glock 9, he said, lupa kung sinilangan ang pangalan ay Pinas, ngunit bakit parang puno na ang prutas ay pitas? And next is the rains are becoming strong but its umbrella is full of holes. Lumalakas na ang ulan ngunit ang payong ay may butas. And then lastly is the leaders are benefiting much but the citizens are being done away with. Mga pinuno ay unga, sila lamang ang nakikinabang pero tayo ang utas. So the message of the song is the Philippines has good manpower. The good manpower appears to be going is gone already. It is because they feel like they deserve a better life and they are not getting what they deserve here in the Philippines. So it's better for them to leave the country and sacrifice for their family to find better income and raise their family well. So that includes our presentation about global migration. We hope that you were able to pick up something and learn the importance of global migration in the Philippines. Thank you.